Hey, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Alan Wake's American Nightmare for the PC. You might notice that as I play, I'm probably the best Alan Wake's American Nightmare on PC player in the United States. I'm not bragging, I'm just letting you know. Anyway, that was a bad start. I'm actually probably not that good at this game. A matter of fact, one quick note, if this video looks jumpy right here, it's because I had to edit it out because when it was showing cutscenes, it froze up. It might have been because I was running the capture device software. Actually, it's not a device, I was running capture software, and it uses more resources, and I think it interfered, ironically enough, with the cutscenes, which you wouldn't think were that graphic intensive or whatever, because it's basically playing a movie because the gameplay is fine. But yeah, I don't know what happened, so I had to cut this part out where it paused, but it doesn't cut away from anything from the story. Anyway, I got this on the PC. It was 99 cents. I believe the original Alan Wake was 99 cents. I actually had the original Alan Wake on PC because at the time I didn't have a Xbox 360, and I really wanted to play this game because I'm a huge fan of Remedy and the first two Max Payne games. Like, I always think of Max Payne 1 and 2 kind of separate from Max Payne 3 because I feel like as much as I love Max Payne 3, it has a different feel altogether. Like, because, you know, when you're an artist, you always put your thumbprint on stuff, whether it's intentional or not. And so far, Alan Wake and the first Max 2 Payne games, even though Alan Wake and Max Payne are two different series with two different concepts, I feel like the way the story is, the art design, the sound, etc., I feel like they have similar feels. I would really like to play Quantum Break. I know it wasn't as well received as maybe, I'm guessing, especially Remedy had hoped, but to me it looks like something that's very appealing to me. It is available for the PC, but I'm primarily a console gamer, so it just doesn't look like it's in the card for me at the moment, because an Xbox One right now, there's only a handful of games I would get, and I've talked about this before, but I'd be curious about Gears of War 4, just because I think Gears of War 3, and from what I played from Judgment, seemed pretty cool. I really like the switch to vibrant colors versus Gears of War 1 and 2. I never finished anyone except 1, but I did play a good portion of part 2, and I'd say maybe a quarter of part 3 and very little in Judgment. But I do like the aesthetics of it all, although even though you have these gigantic guns, I feel like they're airsoft rifles. Like, I don't know if, well, you can just go back and look at it. I think I played, it was Gears of War Judgment, and you have this gun with a fucking chainsaw on it, and you can't even break a wine bottle. Like, you could break a wine bottle and like siphon filter on the PlayStation 1, or even like Duke Nukem with its 2D graphics. But anyway, this was 99 cents on Steam, so I was like, why not? I think it's like still $15 on Xbox Live. I actually have finished the first Alan Wake on the Xbox 360 because when I eventually did get Xbox 360, this was one of the first games that I bought because this is something I really wanted to play. And then when I sold my Xbox, Dean Vinny Corleone actually donated his old Xbox, and I traded in all my games and stuff so I could get PlayStation 4, because I had to make a choice. I have to either give up the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3 in order to get a PlayStation 4, and I decided on the Xbox 360 because my rationale was there were more exclusives that I was particularly interested in the PlayStation 3, despite the Xbox 360 having superior ports. So when I acquired an Xbox 360 again, even though I had the games on PlayStation 3, I would often find myself going back and getting the better versions. Two games in particular that I made a point to re-get were Bayonetta and Ghostbusters, the video game. The 2015 one. The other one wasn't on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But I wanted to clear that up because the one that came out in 2016 wasn't even a good game. And for me to say that, as much as I like the concept of ghost busting, that's a pretty big deal. Although this is how much of a dork I am. Like, if I saw it for $10, I would probably get it. Maybe 15, maybe 20. I don't know. Just because it has the Ghostbuster logo on it. I guess some people are like that with Star Wars or whatever their favorite franchise is. But I guess I'm a sellout when it comes to Ghostbusters. Even though I wasn't all that fond about the movie. And no, it had nothing to do with the female cast. It just didn't have a soul. Like, if it was called something else, I wouldn't be into it. And it's a shame because the cast was really talented in that film. I blame the writers and directors of that film. But whatever. And I tell you this because I'm way all over the place, but you expect that from my videos by now. So, but I say this because there's this comic book series that I often bring up, published by IDW, and right now they're going through a story where they're opening up this they have this machine. Sometimes these stories are out there because they also met the Ninja Turtles and that, but that was just like for just fan service, but as this kind of is too. But listen to me flip-flop in here. But they have like a portal. But anyway, my point is the regular Ghostbusters meet the Ghostbusters from the 2016 movie, which is kind of a cool concept if you ask me. It's something that could really only be done in comic books because, you know, the cast is young now, and the original cast of Ghostbusters are like senior citizens. One of them unfortunately passed away. Harold Ramis, extremely talented writer. It's a shame some of his later movies weren't as good. Like what was it, Bedazzled, and that BC movie with Jack Black and Michael Sarah, I think his name is. Yeah, those movies weren't that good, but you know, he's a talented writer. Helped direct National Lampoon's Vacation, Caddyshack. A lot of classics you wouldn't think he was involved in the writing process of Ghostbusters and Stripes. But anyway, so very talented writer and stuff like that. But again, off topic. I'm not even talking about the game right now, but the game kind of speaks for itself. So anyway, and you know, I have to make my video my own, so there were different writers writing for these characters, you know, and I was like, hey, these characters are a lot more quirky and fun than I remember them being in the movie. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to justify not liking the movie. I'm just like, man, if they ever made a sequel and actually hired some people that were perhaps more passionate about the franchise than the people that they hired for the 2016 movie, it could actually be pretty good, you know. But anyway, that was my point on that. Now, this all stemmed from me getting better ports of games of Bayonetta and Ghostbusters. But there's other games on the list for sure. Pretty much anything that runs on Unreal Engine 3 was probably better than the PS3 versions, with a few exceptions. Yeah, this actually runs on Unreal Engine 3, and at the time, I thought Alan Wake was like the best Unreal 3 game, beside, of course, maybe Gears of War, because that was like Microsoft's flagship series, and that was made by Epic, who actually developed the engine, so of course they're going to know how to get everything out of it. But this console generation, I was like, I can't wait till Unreal 4, because I feel like everything could be done with Unreal Engine 3. And ironically, a 2016 Ghostbusters game ran on Unreal Engine 4. I'm finding that not a lot of games are actually running on Unreal Engine 4. I think that maybe it's too demanding for the consoles, even though when they were announcing the PlayStation 4 and stuff like that, they really show the Unreal Engine 4 engine off with the tech demos and stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. But so far, every Unreal Engine 4 game that I've seen has mostly been like indie titles or smaller company titles, like that Edith Finch game, or Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which was actually remastered in Unreal Engine 4. Street Fighter 5. The PC version doesn't have this, but I noticed like on console Unreal Engine 4 games, like the shading, like I guess it would be considered self-shading. It like has this weird like almost, I don't know what you would call it, like the shading has like almost like a screen door effect, like where every other pixel is like transparent, where it's like this almost like this checkerboard like shading technique. It's really weird. But then I see games that are running on Unreal Engine 3, which I thought they got everything out of it, like Batman Arkham Knight. Outlast 2 looks really good from what I played from the demo. I actually got the Trinity set or whatever that has all 3 games, because before you can get physical copies, at least here that I know of. I know Europe gets a lot of physical copies that we don't get. But what really blew my mind is recently I play, and Capcom should take note of how to do a fighting game, by the way, and have a lot of content. NetherRealm Studios, freaking, I don't know what they did, but they made Unreal Engine 3 like look fantastic. Those facial animations with those characters and Injustice 2 look freaking real, and there is so much content in the game. I have like no desire right now at this point to even invest in the DLC, plus it's not all related. But if I continue to have fun with this game, I'll either wait for hopefully like a Game of the Year edition, and I have no problems double dipping if it has that much content in it, as much fun as I had. Or like worst comes to worst, they get the season pass, but I'll wait till like everything is released, because I think it's kind of stupid to pay like full price and still have to wait for like all this stuff to come out. You know, it's not like a pre-order where you can put like $5 down and get the money back. Like if you buy the special edition, that's like $100, which is like $40 extra. I think it was $100 extra, and you can't even enjoy any of that $40. I think you get like a few costumes or whatever. But yeah, definitely worth it. But what I'm getting at is like the Unreal Engine 3 looks really good. I've just seen nothing but issues with the Unreal Engine 4 game. I know when Batman came out, the Arkham Asylum and Arkham City came out, that had a lot of issues. It looks nice, but you know, this is from a console perspective. I don't know if my PC could actually run an Unreal Engine 4 game, to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons why. Like, if I knew for a fact I could play Quantum Break, which is made by Remedy, if I didn't already stress that out already, on fairly decent settings, I would already have it. As much as I don't really care to play games on PC, encouraged me to get this because it was $1 versus like $15, and this is kind of like a more action oriented Alan Wake. So yeah, so on the consoles, like the Unreal Engine 4 games that have come out don't necessarily, in my opinion, look better than the Unreal Engine 3 games. It just seems like the lighting is different. Like, it has like almost like this like neon fluorescent color scheme. The lighting and stuff like that seems to be a little bit more exaggerated. That's really the only difference I notice. It seems like a lot of the stuff you can do with Unreal Engine 4, you can, at least on consoles, you can do with Unreal Engine 3. So maybe the current consoles out right now aren't up to stuff. And I know that this is strange for like PlayStation 4. Like Tekken 7's coming out, and they can't even get 900p on the PlayStation 4, that's usually a downgrade. Like most games on PlayStation 4 get 1080p, and they can't even get that resolution with Unreal Engine 4. But I did hear, and thank goodness I have a Pro, the Pro version is supposed to look significantly better. So if they can get 1080p at least, I'll be happy. Anything beyond that, that'll be great too. But I'm just like, in order to get like a first person shooter, which I would imagine that's what they had in mind when they were developing the Unreal Engine 4, because those are the kind of games that Epic primarily makes. Like, I just don't see it happening with the games that have come out so far that use that engine, because most of the games that have come out have been pretty slow as far as gameplay goes, except like Street Fighter, but that's like a fighting game, and it's, aside the character models, like the background and stuff like that is pretty generic. Man, Capcom really dropped the ball on that. I really like Street Fighter 5, but I almost wish, even though I was against the idea, because I was like, oh, you can unlock everything, but I thought that it would have some sort of arcade mode by now, which I thought that's how you would earn money. But the way you earn fight money is to fight other people, and the people that play Street Fighter 5 online are like really good. So if you're like an average player like me, you'll get your ass handed to you. But yeah, I would like to see some of these first person shooters come out on consoles, just to see what they would be like with Unreal Engine 4, but we'll see. I'm curious how Tekken's supposed to look, but judging from some of the newer games that are coming out on Unreal Engine 3, I feel like they look quite nice. Anyway, this is Alan's Wake, American Nightmare. You're like, finally, when is he going to talk about this game? Remedy apparently lost the rights to some of the music in the game. So it's like when Sega lost the rights to Afterburner, and I think Konami lost the rights to distribute the Simpsons arcade game. This is another reason why I'm really big on getting physical media, because sometimes these digital retailers are like, if you own consoles, like the online stores, they lose the rights, and then like you might not be able to get them again. Usually you can download them again, but there's rare cases for instance. I'm sorry, my cat's distracting me. She's super hyperactive right now. She's running throughout the apartment, and it's driving me batshit crazy. But anyway, yeah, for instance, PT Konami, once Kojima left and Silent Hills was officially canceled, they literally took it off the store. There's like no way to download it. Like, if I want it, I have to keep it on my hard drive for forever. So right before Remedy was about to take Alan Wake off of the stores, and sometimes it goes back on. A good example is the game Crazy Taxi, where they lost the rights to the original music, so they took Crazy Taxi off of the stores and stuff like that, and then redid the music and then put it back on, and the music wasn't nearly as good, but whatever. To be honest with you, though, I think the Dreamcast version is the best version, because, I don't know, the controls just feel catered for that game. With that shitty Dreamcast, that's the only thing. Everybody loves the Dreamcast, but I absolutely hate the Dreamcast controller and that janky control pad. I'm wondering if I would really like to start playing Dreamcast games, but I don't have a complete Dreamcast anymore. Through my moving processes, I'm losing, like, I don't think I lost it. I had some sticky fingered roommates, if you will. And I don't know what they took, like, because when I moved into this house, a lot of things were like missing and stuff like that. Like, I had to rebuy a PlayStation 2. It's nuts. But yeah, I would love to. I need to look into it. I also need to look into just replacing the controllers for a lot of these older systems I have, including the PlayStation 3. Like, those pressure sensitive controllers with the analog face buttons are great, but at the same time they like give after a while. Like, the buttons don't feel as responsive. I feel like they get loose, and I feel like you have to push them down further to get the quick response. But I'm also used to playing the digital buttons on PlayStation 4, which I think that has a big thing to do with it. But anyway, it's a lot of things. I'm rambling and I haven't talked much about this game. So this is Alan Wake American Nightmare. I don't know if it's a true sequel or a spin-off. I haven't finished this game. I guess I'll have to finish it on the PC. I was actually holding out a long time, hoping that they'd come out with a physical version on the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I have no idea how long this game is, but for 99 cents, I mean, I gave it a shot. It also looks quite nice, even though it has to do with a lot of lights and darks and shadows and stuff like that. This game has a more vibrant color scheme, like with the diner and stuff like that. A lot of the, maybe it's in my mind, but I feel like there's a lot of fluorescent and bright colors injected into this game that wasn't in the original game. It's also more action oriented off the bat, whereas the original game was more paced. It got action oriented towards the end because, you know, you have to raise up the difficulty. But you can kind of tell based on what I've seen, because Quantum Break kind of had like this TV show theme, and you can tell a lot of that. Like the cutscenes, as you saw earlier, had like live action actors and stuff in it. But I absolutely love Alan Wake. I hope that I'll be able to play Quantum Break at some point. Shame it didn't sell well. I hope Remedy stays in business, because they're such a talented studio from what I played. I've not played Quantum Break, but I can't imagine them fucking up something. They're just really good and creative. And Alan Wake kind of reminds me a lot of when on Max Payne, when you were going through the levels and you'd see the little TV playing. But they have like Baseball Bat Boy, but there is like this one other show that was like a surreal version of like what Max Payne was going through. It was like this soap opera that kept on coming on. That's kind of what Alan Wake reminds me of. A lot of people compare Alan Wake to Twin Peaks, and I probably have done that on another Alan Wake video that I did. But the more I play it, it does remind me more of the Twilight Zone or Outer Limits. Something like that, or Night Gallery, something like that. Seriously, the phone's ringing? That's the landline. I don't even know the number to that. Alright, I am so sorry. I want these videos to be good and interesting again, and then it's just like, it feels like everything's working against me sometimes to make anything decent. But anyway, it reminds me, there's definitely, I feel like more in the first game with the diner and stuff like that, and the atmosphere with being outdoors, where this one kind of reminds me more of the Twilight Zone. I think towards the end of the first game it was a lot like the Twilight Zones. I know if I pick up that phone, it's gonna be somebody asking me for Chinese food. I don't know who the hell orders Chinese food, but apparently their phone number is the same as mine. I wish they'd get their shit together. I really do. Considering I have a cell phone, I don't use it. It like came with the cable. They're like, oh, you gotta have a phone. I was like, alright. But anyway, definitely more like the Twilight Zone than Twin Peaks, but there's definitely hints of Twin Peaks. If you want a game that's like Twin Peaks, I would definitely recommend Deadly Premonition. either on the PlayStation 3 or the PC, you definitely want the director's cut version, because that itself is a flawed game. There is a Xbox 360 version just called Deadly Premonition that came out. It had like some weird box art. It looks like somebody's being tortured, like I think with barbed wire or something. It's really hazy, but basically they went back and like made the graphics better, the gameplay more responsive, added more scenes to it with the director's cut. So I have not personally played the Xbox 360 version, but I heard it was pretty terrible. But you know, that's subjective. But in my mind, if there's a better version out there that you can play, why not play it? Because even in my opinion, even though I really like the game, and it definitely adds more to it if you really like Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks' brand of bizarre, surrealist tones and humor, like you'd probably really appreciate Deadly Premonition. But definitely get it, Deadly Premonition director's cut, either on the PlayStation 3 or the PC. If you want to get the original, feel free, or don't get the original, I don't care. But anyway, as you notice, you shine the light on the bad guys to weaken them, and then you shoot them and you blow them up. I haven't finished this game, so I can't tell you much more about it. I don't know if it's on sale anymore. That's what sucks. I haven't really checked. I know they took it off of the Steam store. I don't know if it's still on Xbox Live. But it's a really nice looking game. Since it's a shorter game, I imagine they're putting more action into it. It has an arcade mode, I guess, so you can play the shooter element more. But if I had an Xbox One, this would be one of the first games I would get. I would get that. I'm curious about Gears of War 4. Sunset Overdrive looks pretty cool. That Rare collection seems like it would be a must-have. As much as I like the PlayStation exclusives, like I'm sure Forza is pretty awesome. I don't know about the online components. I know a lot of people don't like the Drivatar things. I don't know how that would work if you just had the system unplugged or whatever, maybe. I don't know. But I like the handling, everything of Forza. That was one exclusive I did like. Ironically, I don't own any Forzas at the moment since I got the replacement 360. So that's probably something I need to look into. But yeah, those are some games that like I think are way better than the Gran Turismo series or whatever, especially since I'm not a big racing fan. I loved just the handling and the way it looks, so I get something out of it even though I'm not like a big racing person. And I love how you can modify the game. Hopefully all that shit transferred over, because I'm strictly speaking from my experience of Forza 4. So I'm hoping Forza 6 is as good. But I noticed when I played the demo of Forza 5, and from what I've seen on like reviews, like almost everything was like DLC. That was kind of off-putting a bit. When everything, well, I'm sure it did have its fair share of DLC, but there was quite a bit of content in Forza 4. But yeah, this is Alan Wake's American Nightmare. I think it's a cool game. If you're a fan of the first game, or Remedy, this and the game before it, mostly the game before it, is definitely worth checking out, either on the PC or the 360. 360 actually looks quite nice and quite close to this. This probably has farther draw distance. I have this on max settings at 1080p, so hopefully that'll help you out. But sorry about the phone. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're all doing well, and take care. Bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.